Right, mirror words.
Mirror words.
We will compare numbers
We will compare numbers
by using place value.
by using place value.
Okay? We will compare. Let's think about that. We will compare. Okay? I want you to just think about it for a minute. This is something we've already done. We're going to practice. When we compared numbers, what were the symbols that we used to compare the numbers? Think for just a minute. To compare them. To compare them. So, which one was this?
Greater than.
Greater than. Okay. This one is greater than because it's my right hand. Okay. Which one is this?
Less
Shh, we gotta do it super quiet because they're doing it in groups. We'll just do whispering, okay? This one was this, and this one was equal to. Okay? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna compare numbers greater than, less than, equal to using place value. I want you to think really quick. Again, one more question for y'all about this. Where do I start when I'm comparing numbers in place value? Which place value do I start with? Think for a minute. Where do I start? In the hundreds? Well, what happens if my number has a thousands place? Okay, Manuel, tell me, where do I start? I want you to think again. Roger, where do we start?
on the biggest place.
Okay, so I want everybody to whisper that into your hand. You need to remember it forever. When you're comparing numbers, you start in the biggest place value. Put it in your head because we're going to have to take it out later, okay? So don't forget it. Did you put it in good?
Yes.
Hold on to it. We're going to take it out later, okay? So this is the I do. I want you to make sure you're looking, listening, and learning, okay? So I should see everybody looking at me. We have two numbers, right? We're going to do 3-digit numbers, okay? So here's what we have. The number 432, and I'm going to compare it to the number 563, okay? 432, and I'm going to compare it to 563. But we're using place value. Remember that in our objective, by using place value. So to use place value, I'm going to make a place value chart. The ones place, tens place, hundreds place for this one. And you see how I left some space in the middle? I'm going to make another place value chart. Ones place, tens place, hundreds place. What digit is in my ones place here? What digit's in my ones place, or tens place? 3. What digit's in my hundreds? 4. Okay. What digit's in my ones? What digit's in my tens? And what digit is in my hundreds? Okay. So we can look in the place value chart and see that we have ones, tens, and hundreds. So I need you to take that fact out of your head that you just put in there and tell me where you start, Israel. Where do we start? Where did we put in our head just a minute ago? Think again. Wait, don't tell him. Think. You put it in your head. We start at the biggest place. What? Value. So we start at the biggest place value. A great way to think about that is, if I have 100, if I have 110, and I have 1 okay? Which one of these is bigger? I have one of all of them, so which one is bigger?
Hundreds.
The 100 is bigger. So we start, if I have 100, it doesn't matter if I have 9 tens, because guess what? 100 is still bigger. So you start in the biggest place value, okay? So in this case, our biggest place value is what? What's our biggest place value? The hundreds place. So I want us to circle the biggest place value, circle that digit, and now I'm going to compare. I'm going to compare, is 4 greater than 5 in the hundreds place? Is 400 greater than 500? Or is 400 less than 500? Or is 400 equal to 500? If I have 400 and I need it to open up to the bigger side, this is greater than. That doesn't open up to the bigger side. This is less than. Oh, that opens up to the bigger number. I'm going to put that symbol. And I know it's bigger because 500 is greater than 400. Okay? So you have to remember why it's greater. You can't just make the symbol. You have to think about it. Because 500 is greater than 400. You have to make it open up to that side. Okay? So in this case, 400 is less than 500. Okay? So get out your math journals. Y'all are going to do one with me now. Open it up to the page for comparing numbers, because we need to compare numbers using place value. So that's what we're going to do. You ready? Here we go. Here's our number. 647. And we're going to compare it to 563. And I'm going to make my place value chart because we're doing it by using place value. So I need a place value chart. I need ones, I need tens, and I need hundreds for this number because there's 3 places. And I need ones, tens, and hundreds for this one because there's 3 places. So you should be writing this down because we're going to do this one together. And try to keep it in between the blue lines so you don't waste too much of your notebook paper. 647. And we're going to compare it to 563. Chelsea, why do I only have ones, tens, and hundreds here? So there's only a hundreds placed in the number? You're right about that. What would happen if I had what would happen, don't write this, but I want you to tell me, what would I have to do if I had a number right there? You would have to add another column for the thousands place? You're right. Perfect. So we only have hundreds, ones, tens, hundreds, so I only need to put ones, tens, hundreds here. I don't need to put thousands. Okay, so let's fill in our place value chart. Y'all ready? How many ones?
7.
How many tens?
4.
How many hundreds?
6.
Okay, let me see what we got.
She ended up drawing 19 unicorns for purple crayon.
Okay, y'all do the next one, and I'm going to watch the other number. Fill it in.
Amy also said, "Ooh, that looks fun. I want to draw unicorns." So she grabbed her blue crayon, and she ended up drawing 21.
How do you know that you need to put the 5 in the hundreds column? How do you know that?
And I want to know how many unicorns they both drew together. So can you please build 19 and then build 21?
It's bigger than it has to be in the hundreds place. How do you know it's bigger?
I haven't forgotten in all this time.
By using what?
Guys, you guys are pretty quiet. I hope
Place
they
value.
can say
You're
anything
correct.
out loud.
That's correct. So if there was another number right here,
What should you be
what would the
telling
place
them?
value of that
What are you
number be?
practicing right now? No, you're not.
Exactly,
learning the
thousands.
game.
Good job.
You guys aren't even playing this game right.
Okay. So I see everybody got the answer of 3 in the ones, 6 in the tens,
And I'm gonna
and
go
5 in the hundreds. Okay? So now we need to do what? We need to compare. Okay? So we have hundreds here and we have hundreds here.
I should not see my
So I need to circle
down. That's what it says. I'm
my hundreds.
cheating.
Can y'all circle your hundreds? And I have a question I want you to think about. What happens if I have a bigger number in the tens place over here?
Stack. So here's Cedric's stack.
Am I?
Has everybody got their numbers?
I think that I'm confused because what happens if my tens place has a bigger number? Like
You do not
this number has more hundreds, but this one has more tens. How do I figure out which one I'm going to compare? How do I figure it out?
quit touching them.
How do I figure out which one I'm going to compare?
Daniel, I'm modeling this game for you.
Think for a second. Think for a second. If I have 600s over here and 500s over here, I feel like maybe it would be this one, but there's more tens here. There's more tens here. So how do I know which to compare? Like sometimes I see that I want to go with the number that has more tens. Should I go with the number that has more tens, or should I go with the number that has more hundreds? More hundreds? Why?
When you think you have your sum,
Take that fact out of your head. Remember we put that fact in our head? Can you pull it back out? Pull it out and put it in your hand and whisper it to me. What was that fact, Yatsiri? We start at what? The biggest place value. Is tens the biggest place value? It is? Is tens the biggest place value? So guess what? We don't even have to look at the tens. That's why we circled the hundreds, so we could ignore the tens so it won't distract us. And the ones. Don't let it distract you. Don't let the tens and the ones distract you. If you have two different digits in the hundreds place, that's where you stop. That's where you stop, Roger. Where do you stop? If you have different digits, where are you going to stop?
what are you doing, Daniel? Do you see her staff?
When they have different numbers, and it's in the which place value? The biggest place value, okay? So I want y'all to remember it. Keep it in your head and take it out every time you're comparing numbers. Start at the biggest place value, okay? So I'm comparing 600 and 500. Is 600 greater than 500, or is 600 less than 500? Greater. And I'm going to make my symbol, my alligator mouth's going to eat up the bigger number. And why? Why is 600 greater than 500? Daniel.
Please. Okay. Then look what it says. Here's how you know who gets to keep the charts. The person who has the greatest answer. Some are different, but you have the greatest.
So the 600 is bigger, is greater than the 500? So 600 is greater than 500 because, Manuel, 600 is greater, is more than 500. Do you understand? Is that easy peasy? Okay. We're going to do one more, and then y'all are going to do it by yourself. This one I'm going to show you is going to be a little bit more tricky, so I want you to pay attention, okay?
So back to the original question.
427 compared to
He said, what are you learning?
439.
What are you learning how to do?
And I'm going to use place value to compare. I'm going to make a place value chart.
How to add and how to subtract. I am learning how to add and subtract my math facts that I have.
Okay, I'm using my place value chart. If you need to turn the page, you can. If you need to turn the page, you can. We need to be writing this. 427 is, and we're going to compare it to 439.
How to add and subtract.
And then we're going to fill in our place value charts.
Okay, so are you ready to play now? So you three need to put those together so that you can flip your cards all together and solve.
And I want to see you fill in the charts by yourself. I'm not going to do it with you this time. Y'all can do this part. 427 compared to 439. 439. Fill in your place value charts. I'm going to look at your, that's all we're doing. We're not putting the symbol in. We're filling in our place value charts. We're filling in our place value charts. Let me see what you have in your place value chart.
That's okay. We're going to save one of them, right? You got 40. You got 41. You got 30.
That you skipped the hundreds place. Why did you do that? They're equal. They're the same. You're right. So why did you circle the tens place? They're not equal.
Why did you stop it?